Hello, welcome to Shadow Boutique. It is a pleasure meeting you today. How are you doing? Oh, excellent. So I take it you are here for our Shadow 101? Okay, so you are a beginner at makeup and you're not quite sure where to begin. Okay, well, eyeshadow is, I think, the perfect place to begin, and it's the most fun in regards to applying makeup because we get to use so many different colors. Yes, I agree it can be overwhelming, but I am going to give you a good overview on everything you need to know about eyeshadow and where and how to begin. Okay? Now, of course, I will be giving you tips and ideas, but at the end of the day, makeup is for fun. As I always say, it is a way to express oneself, and there really isn't a wrong way to express ourselves. So, do keep that in mind today as well. Okay? So after I give you a bit of, tips and tricks, I will then move on to actually applying eyeshadow to your beautiful eyes. Let me get a close look. Oh, I just love your eye shape, and your color is just gorgeous. You have beautiful eyes, and I already have so many ideas. So I will also be giving you a complimentary eyeshadow palette. So this is actually the palette that will be going on your beautiful eyes. This is the new Sigma Enchanted palette, okay? So that is going to go to you, and I will be applying those colors to your eyes as well. So these are the lovely colors within the palette. Okay, so this palette contains 14 color shifting eyeshadows, and they're buildable, blendable matte shades along with pigmented duochromes and shimmer shades. And you do get a brush as well. It's a dual-ended brush. Okay, yes, which means that there's two brushes in one. So you'll get the diffused crease brush and the medium sweeper brush. So the crease brush is there to soften and blend any harsh lines, and the medium sweeper is there to pack and blend onto the lid. Okay, so let's move on to the basics of eyeshadow, and then we will apply the eyeshadow to your beautiful eyes. So, for our intro into eyeshadow, we are going to firstly discuss tones. So, I have selected a few eyeshadow palettes that coordinate to different tones. We have 3 different categories, 3 different tones. We have our warm tones, we have our neutral tones, and lastly we have our cool tones. So we are going to be discussing neutral tones first. So I have selected 5 different eyeshadow palettes for each tone. So, neutral tones. Neutral colors include hues like beige, black, gray, ivory, taupe, brown, and white. Neutral usually means without color, although these hues sometimes have faint undertones of blue, gold, peach, pink, tan, and yellow. These colors are essential for starting out in makeup as they provide flexibility and visual balance. Neutral tones are classic, subtle, and effortless. You can create an everyday look that can become a staple in your makeup routine, or use various neutral tones to complement bolder and more vibrant colors. So let's take a look. I've selected the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea palette, the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, the Naked 2 by Urban Decay palette. We have the In the Mood by W7, and another Too Faced palette. This is the Matte Eye palette. So let's open them up. So here is the Too Faced Rainforest of the Sea palette. Now, as you can see, there are a lot of variations of taupe in this palette. We also have this beige cream, and nothing leans too warm or too cool, therefore making a perfect neutral palette. Next, we have the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. This has been a favorite of many for a very long time. So this palette has a lot of variations of browns. Some, yes, lean a bit more cooler, and some lean a bit more warmer. However, overall, once again, nothing leans more warm or cool. So this is a perfect everyday palette. You do see that there are bits of color in there as well, which create interest to an eye look. But overall, this is a good staple palette. I would definitely call it a bit more natural and not bold at all. Next, we have the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. So here we have a lot of variations of taupe again, some silver and black, and some beiges. And as you can see, this palette ranges from light to dark, making it very easy to play around with when starting out in eyeshadow. This next one is the W7 In the Mood palette. Now this one may be a bit boring, but still serves its purpose. You can use colors like this as a base color, as a transitional shade in your crease, and also to add depth. You see there are a lot of light colors and skin tone colors as well, and then we move on to a deeper brown and a deeper black that adds depth to an eye look. You can even use these colors as eyeliner as well. And all of these are matte. Then we have our Too Faced Matte Eye Palette. So this is another matte eyeshadow palette, and we see variations of brown and beige, variations of silver and gray, and a little pops of color, but not too much. So this is still very much a staple everyday palette. It doesn't really lean too warm or too cool. So these are all great options if you're in the hunt for a simple everyday palette that serves many different purposes. A neutral eyeshadow palette adds a lot of value to a collection because you can do so much with colors like these. They can be introduced to brighter, bolder colors to complement them, and these colors are great for blending. So now we are going to be moving along to our warm tones. So once again, I have selected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different eyeshadow palettes. So warm colors include hues of red, yellow, brown, tan, and orange. Warm colors refer to the colors that remind one of the sun, sunset, or even daytime. These colors resemble fire and evoke feelings of warmth. Warm colors are said to be stimulating. Warm colors are a great way to add a spice to any look and are favorited during the warmer months. You can use warm tones to emphasize the perception of depth. So, I have selected the Blood Sugar palette from Jeffree Star, the Just Peachy palette by Too Faced, the ColourPop Cute AF palette, the Makeup Geek Vegas Lights palette, and lastly the Naked Urban Decay Heat palette. Naked Heat. Let's take a look. So this is a personal favorite of mine, and without doubt definitely screams warm tones. So as you can see, we have pops of red, cranberry, and golds. This adds fury to any makeup look, and it's quite bold and eye-catching, no pun intended, when placed on the eyelids. Next, we have the Just Peachy Mattes from Too Faced. So this palette does have a bit of neutral tones, as we just talked about, but has some really great peachy tones. So this palette definitely leans more warm toned, because most of the browns in this palette have warm undertones, therefore making it very spicy. This next palette is from ColourPop. It's the Cute AF palette. Here we see a bright yellow, which is really fun and very unique. Even in a warm toned palette, you don't quite see this color too often. But this is a great crease color, and it definitely complements a warm toned look. So this palette just reminds me of the sunset. It's really quite gorgeous, very alluring. Here we have the Makeup Geek Vegas Lights palette. And this one definitely has a lot of golds. And also some cranberries. So this is a great warm tone palette, but this one is a bit more subtle. Some of the other ones that I shared with you are definitely a bit bolder with the bright reds and yellows. This one is warm but subtle. And lastly, our Naked Heat by Urban Decay palette. This palette, as the name states, reminds you of heat, summer fun. We have a lot of cranberry shades, rusty reds, and shimmery, bedazzling pinks, along with some warm toned browns to complement this look. So this is an excellent option if you're going for a full out warm toned look. So lastly, we have our cool tones. So again, I have selected 5 palettes. So, cool colors include different shades of blue, green, and purple. Sometimes they also include shades of gray, such as silver. They are the opposite of warm colors, of course, and their lower saturation gives off a calm, soothing effect, while warm tones are a bit, once again, stimulating. Cool tones are relaxing. Cool colors refer to the colors that remind you of the sea, sky, and oftentimes nighttime. Cool colors give the impression of receding in space, so in eyeshadow terms are great for shadowing and also for making areas pop at the same time. So here we have our Jeffree Star Alien palette, our Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette, our Lime Crime Venus XL2 palette, our ColourPop Elements of Surprise palette, and our Interstellar Kat Von D palette. So the first palette that I have here is from Jeffree Star once again, and it is his Alien palette. The Alien palette focuses on the color green, as the name would suggest, of course. And we see several pops of green and also complementary browns, as they tend to lean more cool toned. We also have this beautiful royal purple and some grays and blacks. This palette is really quite unique because we don't really see this color selection in palettes too often. The next eyeshadow palette that I would like to share with you is the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now, some palettes are a bit more easier to determine the tone, whether they're warm, neutral, or cool, and some palettes are a bit more difficult. I am categorizing this as a cool toned palette, although you will find that there are several different warmer tones in this palette as well. I am categorizing this as a cool toned palette because of all of the mauves and the cool toned browns, such as this one, and these. Now, the main color of this palette is this beautiful mauve, which has hints of gray and purple, of course. So the focus of this palette is this color, and overall the look that you will get tends to be more towards the cool toned side. So that is the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Next, we have this lovely palette by Lime Crime, and this is the Venus XL2. So, as we take a look at this palette, we will notice ethereal, more subdued colors, but there are quite a bit of greens in this palette, and the pinks tend to lean more towards a mauve undertone. So mauve tends to have gray, and gray is towards the cool side. So this palette definitely leans more cool toned. So here we have our ColourPop Elements of Surprise palette. And sometimes just by looking at the packaging, you can tell whether the palette is cool toned or warm toned. For example, this palette definitely looks like it will be cool toned, and just looking at our Naked Heat palette, you can tell this is going to be a warm toned palette. Okay, so our Elements of Surprise palette doesn't really surprise us too much. As we open it up, we see some purples and browns. A lot of the browns in this palette are cool toned, and of course purples are cool toned as well. We also have some variations of our neutral browns in the mix as well to complement this palette quite nicely. And lastly, in our cool toned category, we have the Kat Von D Interstellar palette. So this one is quite different because it's definitely cool and smoky. We have some silvers and grays and even this black, some cool toned browns with two little pops of purple. Nothing about this palette is warm toned. So this is the perfect example of a cool toned palette. I hope that this was helpful. So you have your warm tones again, your neutral tones, and your cool tones. So next, we will be discussing which colors are complementary to the color of your eyes. So, green eyes, brown eyes, and blue eyes. Of course, there are variations in between, but we are just going to focus on green, brown, and blue. So, for green eyes, I have chosen the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. Let me open up this palette for you. So for green eyes, we want to focus on colors that are earthy browns or smoky grays, golds, purples, oranges, and cranberries. Any shade described as rusty will be your best friend. So that is why I have chosen the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, as this palette offers a wide range of beautiful rusty reds and oranges, cranberries, and any color combination in this palette will just look gorgeous against your green eyes. So, moving along to blue eyes, I have chosen the Femme Rosa palette from ColourPop. So, let me open this up. So for blue eyes, coppers, corals, bronze, pinks, and even matching cool tones such as blue, turquoise, gray, and silver can intensify the appearance of blue eyes. Now, I personally chose a palette that has a lot of pinks and corals, as I personally love this color against blue eyes. It's colorful, but still subtle. So, for those who have brown eyes, I have selected the Kat Von D Serpentina palette. So, for brown eyes, you want to focus on jewel tones such as greens, blues, purples. Those colors will make brown eyes pop. Colors of cobalt and teal are my personal fave. Taupes, peaches, and silvers are also great as well. So I chose the Kat Von D Serpentina palette because of its beautiful range of jewel tones. We have a rich royal blue, an emerald green, a royal purple, a bright shimmery orange, a cranberry, a gold, and a brown, and all of these colors are very complementary to brown eyes. So now let's take a look at types of finishes. We have matte eyeshadows and shimmer eyeshadows. Firstly, we are going to be discussing matte eyeshadows. So I have two palettes here. We have the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette and the Natasha Denona Safari palette. So, a matte eyeshadow is flat and does not contain any light reflectors. Matte eyeshadows can be worn alone for a more subtle look for those who aren't fond of shimmer or glitter, or can be used in conjunction with shimmer and glitter for a more completed look. It is generally recommended that one use 2 or 3 colors on the eyelid to create a blended appearance. For example, you can choose 2 matte eyeshadows and 1 shimmery eyeshadow. The colors should be complementary to each other, ranging from light to dark. Matte shadows are great to use as a base, transition shade, and adding depth. So let's take a look. So here is the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette. So all of these colors are matte. We have some matte browns and beiges. We have some matte grays and purples and cranberries and pinks. So this palette will truly complement any eye look, whether you're going for a more warm toned eyeshadow look or cool toned eyeshadow look, as this palette leans both ways. The next palette is the Natasha Denona Safari palette. This palette has a beautiful range of colors, and it does share the same guidelines as our IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette, in the sense that it has cool toned mattes and warm toned mattes, and also some neutral mattes as well. So this palette is perfect to wear on its own, or you can use this with other eyeshadow palettes. This palette is great in incorporating it with some shimmer colors on your lids. So moving on to the second finish, which is shimmers. I've selected 2 palettes to share with you. So we have our Urban Decay Moondust palette, and this is actually a Z palette with some foiled shadows from Makeup Geek. So shimmer eyeshadows contain small particles that reflect the light. Shimmers add interest to the eyes. Shimmers can be worn in a subtle way as a highlighting tool on the brow bone and the inner corners of the eyes. This technique makes the look brighter and more open, making the wearer appear more awake. Shimmers come in various shadows. You can have a colorful shimmer, such as a pink or a green, that could be worn directly on the lid, or something as bright as a shimmery white that once again is great for highlighting. So here we have the Urban Decay Moondust palette. Now these, I would definitely say, are a bit more advanced in the shimmer department, as they create an almost wet look. So they are gorgeous. quite beautiful. As you can see, there are a lot of shimmers, a lot of mica, a lot of reflection. Really, really pretty. And then we have our Makeup Geek Foils eyeshadows. These also are very high shine. I would even consider them a bit more metallic. Very reflective as well. And once again, give the appearance of a wet look. So let's say you are having trouble choosing an eye look. The tip that I would give you is to start in threes. You want to have a dark color. Your dark color usually goes in the outer corner, or it can be used as an eyeliner. Your middle color would be your eyelid color or your crease color. And the lightest color would be your highlighter. It would go in your inner corner and or brow bone. So let's choose 3 colors. So right off the bat, I see a shimmery beige. So I would use this shade as my highlight. So let's put this highlight color in here. So we have that. And then I would take this brown here. It has a bit of a warm undertone. It's called Frappe. These shades are actually from Makeup Geek. This one is Shimmer Shimmer. So this would be my middle color, my eyelid and crease color. And then I would take this color here, which is Cocoa Bear, and Cocoa Bear would be my dark color. So that's the general rule, okay? We have a shimmery color as the highlight. So I would use this in the inner corner and brow bone. And then we have our mid-tone middle color, which would go in the lid up into the crease. And we have our depth, our darker color, which will go in the outer corner. So that's just one. So here we have another lighter color, and this one is a matte tone. Okay, and this one is in Vanilla Bean. So let's use that one as our light shade. Since that is a pretty neutral color, we can still use some color. So I am going to then go ahead and use the color Pop Culture, which is like a shimmery lilac. This is a matte, so we can use a shimmer on the lid. And then another matte in Duchess. And this is going to be our dark color. Making groups of 3 makes it a bit more easier. Of course, if you want to be a bit more adventurous, and as you progress in creating more looks and, playing around with makeup a bit more and color, you can definitely be a bit more adventurous, and by the time you know it, you're using 5 or 6 eyeshadows on your lid to create a completed look. Now, say you want to do something fun. How do you do this? well, say we wanted to create sunset eyes, we would go with a matte highlight. We would then go for a complementary matte shade to go with the color of the sunset, which of course is warm. So we have this beautiful light orange. This is in Chickadee. Okay, so we have this matte in Vanilla Bean, another matte in Chickadee. This will be our transition shade, and it can go into the crease as well. And then we could go with this color here. This is Mango Tango, which is a coral. It has a bit of a sheen, so I would put this on the lid, and then just to add some fun, we would use this fuchsia shade here. This is in Simply Marlena. Again, these are all Makeup Geek shadows. I would use this in the crease, and I would use a little bit of Razzleberry on the outer corner of my crease. Even though this does have shimmer, it doesn't translate as much, so I can still use this as a matte shade. It's good to swatch your colors and figure out if it's going to work with your look. This does have shimmer. You may not want shimmer in your look or too much shimmer, so it's good to swatch them before you put them on your eyelid. But this would create a really pretty sunset look. And then you could pull it all together with a color like this. Here we have Bitten, which is a deep cranberry shade. And there you have a really pretty sunset eye. As I promised, I'm going to be giving you a complimentary eyeshadow look using some eyeshadows that I have. And with that, you can see the different eye brushes that I use to create an eyeshadow look and get better acquainted with how to apply makeup. Okay, great. So I hope that what I shared with you, the basic guidelines, tones, finishes, eye color, I hope that those things were somewhat helpful. Okay, I know that they are pretty basic guidelines and anything really goes. So, moving along to eyeshadow application. So, let's talk about brushes. Now, I always say 3 is the best number, and that goes for shadows and brushes. So, this would be your shadow brush, okay? This is the brush that will help pack on color to the lids, okay? So you just dab, 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 dab directly onto the lids for the most impact, okay? Next, we have the crease brush, okay? The crease brush is used for blending. You can actually use a brush like this without any color to further blend, especially if you noticed that the color on your lid did transfer up into the crease. You can use a clean blending brush to diffuse that color or simply erase it away, okay? So, this has many uses. You can use this to place your transition color, which is the color that is slightly lighter than your actual crease color, the darkest shade that would go in your crease. And of course, this is mainly known for using as your crease color brush, okay? So it will place the crease color on your crease, and due to the shape and the fluffiness of it, it will go directly into the crease, but since it is so fluffy, it will diffuse the color. Okay. Now, if you place it like this, it makes for a perfect brush for your crease. So again, due to the shape, it's very easy to place your crease color. You just want to do a wind wiper motion, wind wiper motion, wind wiper motion. And it basically does the job for you. Now you can actually flip this over to the side and you can apply more color to the outer corner. And since this is a fluffier brush, it will create a more diffused, blown out appearance. Okay? So, the next brush and the last brush is our pencil brush. Okay? This brush is tinier, much more dense, and this is great for the outer corner, for your darker tones, to add depth, definition, and shape. Okay? So, you will actually draw on the shape, and you can do that outer V, and you can go back with your blending brush and blend out any harshness. Also, taking the same dark color, you want to bring the dark color down to your lower lash line. Okay? And that creates a completed look. Now, as I stated before, 3 shadows is the best way to go, especially if you're beginning with eyeshadow and you are just starting to create looks. That way you won't be overwhelmed, and no matter what, you will have a beautiful look. So, I have actually used the 3 shadow rule myself today, so you can see that my look looks complete even though I used a minimum of 3 shadows. Of course, you can use 5, 6, 10 eyeshadows to your heart content, but just starting out, 3 is the best in my opinion. This is the Sigma Warm Neutrals Volume 2 eyeshadow palette. So for my eye look today, I used this color, Beaming, as my lid shade. So this is a shimmer, and I would consider this the lightest shade. Then I used Passion Fruit as my crease shade, which is my medium color. And then for my dark color, I used Rogue. This went on the outer corner, a bit up into the crease, and also in my lower lash line. And there you have it, a completed look. It's that simple. So, I'm going to create a look for you today. So, another tip that I want to discuss while applying eyeshadow, you want to go for a base. Now, you can use something like this, which is a concealer. So you want to make sure that it is your skin tone shade. It could be a bit lighter, but you don't want it to be a bit darker than your skin tone, because that would be a bit odd. So a concealer is a good option, and you would place this on your entire lid. And you only want to use just a little bit of this. Then we have an actual eyeshadow primer. So this is actually clear. It has no color like your concealer, which is a skin tone shade. This is invisible. So this is another option. It provides tackiness, and it makes sure that your eyeshadows are a bit more vibrant and they last longer, and no creasing. So today I'm just going to apply this product, which is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter. It's an amplifying eye primer. Okay, so this is going to go directly onto your lids. So close your eyes, okay? And we are going to start off with your left eye. your right eye. Now, to get a better blend, may I use my fingers? May I touch you? Okay, so just close your eyes, close. Okay. Just smoothing this over. Okay, so just smoothing this over. Okay. Excellent. Perfect. So let that just settle a little bit. Okay. Let's have a look at the eyeshadow palette. So it does come with a brush. We have a lid brush and a blending brush. Perfect. So I personally love this palette because it includes both warm and cool tones, so you have a little bit of everything. You have a good variation. It also has a good variety of textures, finishes. Okay, so we have quartz, which is a matte beige. We have a golden sunburst, this shimmery rose color, and budding innocent, which is a matte rose or matte mauve. We have metamorphosis, which is a duochrome. We have loam, which is like a dark taupe. Terra, which is like a terracotta shade, like a dusty rose. Electrum, which is like a golden greenish color. Moonglade, which looks like a shimmery mauve. Plume, which is another duochrome. Cosmos, which looks like another shimmery green duochrome. Claystone, a cool tone brown. Evergreen, a matte dark emerald green. Wicked, which looks like it is a black. So we have a good selection here. So we're still gonna go with the 3 shadow rule. Okay, so to start off the look, we are going to take the blending brush and we're going to dip it into Innocent, which is this beautiful matte light mauve. And we're going to give you a nice rosy monochromatic look. So close your eyes and I'm going to blend into the crease, into your left eye, left crease, blend. Okay, and your right eye, blend, into your right crease, blend. Excellent. Beautiful. Okay. Now I'm going to take this beautiful sparkly color in budding, which is this rose champagne. And this is going to go directly on your lids, so close your eyes. Okay. So pretty. Okay. Excellent. Now we are going to take this pencil brush and we're going to go into this color here, which is Terra. This is going to be our darkest shade, and this is going to be going in the outer V. Excellent. Oh, that's so pretty. This just adds the perfect amount of color. Okay. Okay. Now look up for me. And I'm just gonna place this on the lower lash line, of course. Of course, of course, of course, of course, of course, of course, of course. Okay. The left eye, the right eye. Perfect. Okay. So now, taking the blending brush again, just making sure there's no harsh lines. Okay. Make sure everything looks like just goes, it just flows, it just goes, it just flows, you know. Excellent. And there you have it. That is your look. It is that simple. Now you can complete an eye look with an eyeliner. You can use a color eyeliner on your lower lash line for a pop of color. This can also go on your waterline as well. You do not have to be afraid. Or you can use a black eyeliner or a brown eyeliner. A brown eyeliner is a bit less harsh than a black eyeliner, and it still gives you that definition. However, if you want to go with black, it's classic. It will close up your eyes though. If you have bigger eyes and you want to close them up, make them appear a bit smaller, black eyeliner is your ticket. You can go for a skin tone eyeliner. They do have something like that. And they almost look like this color. And this can go directly into your waterline, and it could make your eyes appear bigger. So if you have smaller eyes, that could be a good option for you. Okay? Another option for liner is something like this. This is a felt tip liner, and it is jet black, but of course this comes in several different colors, and you can use this to give a little flick at the end of your eyes, a little cat eye, and this elongates your eye. Okay, now I have a little trick. I just create a little tiny triangle, a little tiny flick. I actually don't connect it, however sometimes I do. It just depends. But if I want to just give the appearance without full commitment, then I will just create a little tiny flick like so, just at the ends, and it still gives me the same result. And lastly, mascara. So having long wispy lashes just completely transforms your eyeshadow look. Of course, you can then further go on to using falsies, which is always a beautiful option. But of course, sometimes we have time constraints, and falsies aren't always the best option. So let me just apply some mascara. Okay, so look up. Blink, 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 and your lower lashes. Great. Okay, so blink, 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 and your lower lashes. you are ready to go. And now you are an eyeshadow pro. It was certainly my pleasure. I love talking about makeup. So, if you ever need a new eyeshadow palette or more tips and techniques, just come back to the Shadow Boutique and I will be here to help you. Okay? No, thank you.